If you're focusing on the outcome, you realize that now you achieved it, and then what? You got the house, and then what? You live in Dubai, and then what? You got more followers, and then what? Hello, my beautiful angels, and welcome to the second episode of The Pursuit with your host, Patricia Berenson. This space is where we talk about all things personal growth and becoming the women you were meant to be. I'm so happy to have you here for the second episode. Today's episode is all about how to do the thing you want to do, the thing that you've been putting off, you're afraid to try, and you know if you did it, you would feel like a 10x version of yourself. Today's episode is for the version of you that's holding back, the version of you that's waiting to start that business, to post that video, to embark on that fitness journey, or just to start living your life with more purpose, intention, alignment. So in this episode, I'm breaking down why waiting to feel confident is holding you back, how to move even though you're not ready. And I want you to take a look at the pursuit as a prime example of moving even when you don't feel ready, because the last thing I want to do on here is give you advice and tips and not practice what I preach. And the pursuit is a prime example of that. It is my passion project, something that I've been holding back for a long time. I've been kind of scared to try and have been avoiding. I'm putting myself out there in a way that I never have before. I am trying to be really close to my authentic self, speak my mind, and that's sometimes scary on the internet. Despite all of that fear, I am doing it even though I honestly don't feel ready. I have a trip in a week. I don't have all the branding done, and I honestly don't care. As we get into this episode more, I hope I can give you more examples of how you can change your mindset around feeling ready and how to stop paying attention to all the little details that don't matter. They're holding you back, you're over fixating on them, and you're not making any progress. And sometimes those details are why you procrastinate. For the first time in my life, I'm not hyper fixating on the little details like the font of my podcast cover, the thumbnail, the cover for my YouTube channel. Before, this would take me weeks of debating and moving things around and just continuing to procrastinate. Whereas right now, I'm honestly like, you know what, I'm gonna just figure something out that's good enough. Later on, I can change it. I'm not going out and doing a podcast themed photo shoot. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. What I need to focus on is just putting out an episode every week. So while I pursue this project, I want to practice what I preach. And I also want to be an example for you to see that it's so doable. If she can do it, I can do it, because I am not more special than you. You have your value, I have mine. We both have that inner spark. I chose to show up here today in this way, which is congruent to my goals, and I just want to inspire you to do the same, whichever way that is for you. So let the pursuit be a prime example of doing the thing that you're scared to do, that you've been putting off, and doing it anyways before you feel ready. So with that being said, the first point I want to get across is readiness is a myth. You don't feel ready. You decide that you're ready. Think about something that you've been putting off doing, whether that's a career change, pursuing a passion project, or a full business, starting on a fitness journey. What is the thing that you've been putting off? You know, if you do it, you'll feel so accomplished. You'll feel like you're working towards the life of your dreams. What is that thing for you? I really want you to sit and think about it. What is that thing for you that you're waiting to feel ready, that you can finally do it one day? Now, I want to start by challenging the illusion that readiness is something you feel. Readiness is often just procrastination and perfectionism in disguise. It's a subconscious way of avoiding being judged or making mistakes, because everyone has the fear of being seen as a beginner. We all want to look like we're experts in the field that we're in, but we're afraid to be seen trying. So tell me, how will you become a master in anything if you don't even try? If you don't even make the first step? We often make the first step towards something such a big deal, way bigger than it really is. Trust me, no one will remember the first video you ever posted, the first time you went to the gym, the first product launch you had. If you've been following me for a while, do you remember the first video I ever posted? Because the first step you make towards a goal is not a big deal. Your first step gets followed by your second, third, fourth, fifth, but you can't have your fifth if you don't take your first. As I was planning to start the Pursuit podcast, I probably pushed off recording my first episode 100 times. It was always on my mind, but I felt like it was such a big step to make, and I was finding 1,001 excuses as to why that wasn't a good time to start, why I wasn't ready. It came to a point where not starting this project was so mentally damaging to me because I kept showing myself that I can't stick to my promises and I can't show up for myself, and I have this goal yet I'm not meeting it and I can't even take the first step. So I told myself, come on, Patricia, just take the first step. It can be improved later. We don't need to focus about the details. We just need to do the thing, because this thing is something that I really want to do and I do feel like it's my purpose. So we just need to do the thing. And guess what? I did it anyways without feeling ready, and it was not as hard as it seemed. This whole big first step that I drafted up in my head, put off for months, got minimized down to nothing as soon as I hit the record button. It's really not that scary. It's not as hard as it seems. And I'm sure you could probably relate that when you've been putting something off for so long and then you actually do it and you realize, wow, like I could have done that in an hour and I've been putting it off for months. Like, doesn't that feel so stupid? So I hope this can take the pressure off your first step, because your first step is just where you start. You make little improvements along the way. You get feedback. You assess your progress. Your first step is not your last step, but you need to start somewhere. There is nothing I respect more than seeing people try. Even if I don't particularly like the person, I don't like their vibe, maybe I don't connect with them, I can respect them for showing up consistently and putting in the work. Putting yourself out there, being consistent, and simply trying is so respectable. And trust me, it's cool to try, because the people that try and put themselves out there are the ones that get the rewards out of life. So don't be afraid to be seen trying. It's extremely respectable, and showing up consistently is something that a lot of people can't do. So if you're putting yourself out there consistently, props to you. The second point I want to share with you is that fear is a sign you're expanding. A lot of the times people confuse fear with a warning signal, but it's really a signal of growth. Let me hit you with some fun facts. Both fear and excitement feel very similar in the body. What changes is your interpretation. They both share the same physical and neurological responses in your body, like an increased heart rate, increased adrenaline and cortisol, which are your stress hormones. They both activate your nervous system to be in fight or flight mode. The sweaty palms, butterfly feeling in your stomach, both fear and excitement do that. Your brain decides if what you're experiencing is fear or excitement based on the context and the framing you give it. So you can actually reframe the physical condition that you're in, and instead of telling yourself that you're scared, you reframe that feeling and you tell yourself, I'm not scared, I'm just excited for this opportunity. You need to normalize the fear of doing things and stop giving it so much power, because a lot of the times something you are scared to do is just something you're excited to do. Maybe you're nervous and your palms are sweaty because that thing means a lot to you. It doesn't mean that you should crawl back up into a hole and feel anxious and resort into doing nothing. Fear is simply a sign of growth. All the growth that you see is on the other side of fear. Posting content online can be scary, but on the other side of that is potentially a social media community, which you can also monetize and turn into a business. Saying no to something that no longer aligns with you can be scary, but on the other side of that is so much personal growth. Even leaving a secure job or relationship can be extremely scary. Leaving a secure job or relationship can feel so scary, but on the other side of that is so much untapped potential, opportunity for growth, a whole life to live. But if you'll be stuck in fear mode, you will never see the other side. And based on what I see from the real world, people that are not afraid to take risks and don't let fear guide their life, they get places. So we're gonna get you places. So we come back to the point that you have to take a small action. Action creates evidence, which creates confidence. And this whole thing is the confidence loop. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's simply a byproduct of keeping the promises you make to yourself. The only way you can build real confidence, and I'm not talking about an external glow up that you got from the plastic surgeon's office, the only way to build confidence is through evidence. And evidence comes from taking action. I want you to look at your confidence as a bank account, and every small action you take is like a deposit in your bank account. You keep depositing little by little every day. One day you take a look at your bank account and you're a millionaire. You take the action, you see you didn't die, you take a bigger action, you believe in yourself more, This is the confidence loop. You need to start rewiring your nervous system and showing it a new reality where it's safe to take action. You need to remind your brain that you recording a short video is not going to kill you. You'll be fine and you can do it again. So start with a small action that will get you closer to your goal. If, let's just say, your goal is to grow on social media, record a video for 5 minutes and don't post it. If your goal is to be more fit, why don't you just do a 15-minute guided workout on YouTube? Set the bar for deliverables really low, just so you can prove to yourself that you are the type of person that shows up and takes action. That's why I'm not super focused on the little details of this podcast, like making sure I have the perfect intro sound or the perfect thumbnail. If I had to film this podcast in a professional podcast studio every time, I would probably have 1 episode a month. If I set the bar so high, I would honestly just avoid doing it because it would feel so overwhelming and I just wouldn't know where to start. You can even start by just saying yes to something that scares you this week, or even just talking to a stranger at a coffee shop. Maybe it's something you wouldn't normally do, but it's a step towards a more confident version of yourself. You build confidence by showing up scared, and yes, you might feel nervous, but at least now you have the evidence that you will survive every time and you can do it again. Most fear comes from over-focusing on the results. What if it doesn't perform well? What if it fails? What if people will judge it? Instead of thinking in that fear-driven way, reframe it and think, what kind of person will I become if I do this consistently for 6 months? What kind of impact can I make if I do this consistently for 6 months? What kind of example am I setting for myself if I show up consistently? You need to dial it back to your aligned, purpose-driven way of thinking and start by telling yourself positive affirmations about your identity. I am someone who shows up. I am someone who follows through. I am self-driven. I am creative. I make a positive impact in the world. I'm a kind, caring, generous person. I am purpose-driven and aligned to my most authentic self. Focusing on the outcome of a goal will have you chasing all the wrong things. It's a very ego-driven way of thinking, and it starts to attach your self-worth and your happiness to the outcome. I will tell you, having achieved a lot of big goals in my life, if you're focusing on the outcome, you realize that now you achieved it, and then what? You got the house, and then what? You live in Dubai, and then what? You lost the weight, and then what? You got more followers. And then what? If you choose to focus on the outcome rather than enjoying the process, it's just gonna be a really hard realization for you when you get there and you realize that the outcome itself is actually pretty empty. Even having achieved some personal goals of mine, leveling up, buying a bag that I want, it's not about the bag. It's never about the bag. It's about being the type of person that shows up consistently, can take care of themselves, maybe their family, and does the work. As someone who has been around a lot of really nice experiences, a lot of abundance, a lot of materialism, I can tell you very confidently that it's never about the outcomes. You will get there and you will realize that it's an empty place to be in. It's all about being the type of person that shows up consistently, is kind, is caring, works hard, is able to treat themselves and their family, and just be a good person. It's all about finding joy in the little things, working on something that you're passionate about, feeling like you have a purpose in life and working towards it. It's not about the bags. It's not about making X amount of money. It's not about buying a house. It's not about traveling the world. It's not. You can do all of that and focus on all of those outcomes, yet still feel very empty inside. If you don't have a purpose that you're working towards, I honestly think it's a really lonely and empty way to live your life. Focusing on materialism and tangible outcomes, it will not bring you happiness, I can tell you that. I've also seen enough people that have achieved what others dream of, and it doesn't mean they're happy. It's also all about community, and having an amazing community around you makes the world of a difference. So I really want you to reframe how you look at things. Stop focusing on the outcome. Just care less. Trust me, no one thinks about you as much as you think they do. You think everybody's there by the edge of their seat waiting for what you're going to do next? No, because people have their own problems to worry about. Everyone is self-absorbed in their own world, and they don't have the energy to be thinking about what you're doing. People's attention spans are so short that, trust me, they don't have enough brain space to be sitting there wondering what you're doing. And even if that thought crosses their mind, literally who cares? So I really want you to stop fixating on the outcome. Just speaking from personal experience, I genuinely don't care about the outcome of this podcast. I'm creating each video just out of excitement and fun. I love editing, I love filming, and it's honestly something I really look forward to. I'm really enjoying the process, and I don't really expect it to do that well in the beginning, but I do know, based on track record of what I've seen out there, that if you show up consistently and you keep stacking the building blocks, you will get a good result in the end. So I really do believe that. I do believe that if I show up consistently, I do the work, and I do it just honestly from the heart, I think it can do pretty well. And I think if you have that mindset in life, it does end up working out for you, because everything is an energy exchange. You put good energy out there, it comes back. When you're aligned to yourself, the universe rewards you for it. That's something I truly believe, and I've seen it out there, so I know it's possible. So look, I'm just gonna say it how it is. Most of us are not afraid of failing. We're just afraid of being seen as a beginner. We fear the awkward first video, the first product launch, the thing that doesn't go viral, the people who might not get it, the 10 cents the video will get. We say we're waiting for the right time, but the truth is we just don't want to look new. And I do get it, because being seen as a beginner in a world that looks so perfect, especially on social media, can be a little scary. But here's what I've learned: you cannot skip the beginner phase. Everyone starts there. Even someone who looks effortless now had a first draft, had a first video, had a first step. I remember filming my first ever talking video, and I was sitting there criticizing my voice, my hair, every little detail. I was scared that people would judge what I'm doing. They would send my video around in group chats, and maybe I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it anyway. Because the only way to be great at something is to be willing to be bad at it first. So if you're stuck, ask yourself, am I waiting because I don't feel ready? Or am I just afraid of being seen as a beginner? Being a beginner is brave, it's courageous, it's human, and that is where your potential starts. And your future self, the one that's achieved all the things you wish to achieve, she is not more ready than you. She's just more practiced. And that version of you is built by showing up as a beginner when you're scared and unsure, but you're showing up anyway. Let yourself be seen in the becoming. Let yourself be seen as a beginner. There's so much beauty in people seeing the journey and seeing the process. And just remember, you don't have to do the most. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to wait. You just have to begin. And on the topic of being afraid to be seen as a beginner, you also need to own the phase of your life that you're in. So many times I see people be embarrassed of the phase they're in and feel the need to over-explain themselves and make it make sense to everyone. It doesn't need to make sense to everyone. It just needs to make sense to you. I'm only going to give this as an example to hopefully help you if you've been feeling this. Honestly, when I talk to people, acquaintances, I don't feel the need to explain this, because it's none of their business and it only needs to make sense to me. But I always own the phase I'm in, and I'm happy to be in it. It makes sense to me, and that's all that matters. But yeah, after my long-term relationship ended, I decided I want to move back to Toronto and I want to be with my family. For now, I love being with my family. I love spending time with my sister. And I know I would never get the chance to do this again. But most importantly, I always own it. I love it. I always speak highly of it. Just own the place you're in. Don't be afraid to be seen trying, to be seen as a beginner, and work towards where you want to go. One thing that should give you so much fuel to take risks, take action, yet so many people overlook, is having the privilege of a family home to go back to. I saw a TikTok about this recently, and it was so true. It's so underestimated how valuable it is to have a bed or a room that you can go back to. If all else fails, everything goes south, you know you have your family home. And that's a huge privilege. I realize not a lot of people have it, but a lot of people that do have it don't realize they have this privilege. That should give you so much fuel to try new experiences, travel the world, go and take as many risks as you can, because if all else fails, you have a family home to go back to. So don't underestimate that privilege. If you have it, that should be fuel enough for you to go and do the thing. Another thing that often holds people back is the fear of too much competition or an industry being saturated already. Once you realize that competition is healthy and there's an abundance of success for everyone, you really go through life differently. A saturated industry is just proof of concept that it works and it's in demand. Don't worry about being for everyone because you will naturally attract the people that connect with you. The connections you build with people, your brand, your reputation overrules any competition in any industry. For some reason, someone will connect with you as opposed to your competition, even though you could be doing the exact same thing. You have your unique edge, your unique life experience, your inner sparkle. And that's what makes you different. I don't want to be corny, but it's true. Instead of focusing on competition, focus on being a good person, building good connections, and mastering your craft so that it speaks for itself. Whether that's your product, your service, your brand, just focus on doing the work, being a good person, and you will naturally attract your people. Look, I still have moments where I overthink, I delay, I procrastinate, but every time I act from a place of self-trust instead of self-doubt, my life expands. It always seems to work out. So here's your little challenge. What have you been waiting to feel ready for? Write it down on a piece of paper and just take a tiny step towards it today, even if that's a Google search. If this episode helped you, make sure to like this video or rate the show and maybe send it to a friend that's also been stuck. This is The Pursuit with Patricia Berenson. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.